Okay, so if you're anything like me, you've probably got a little gadget on your wrist that's, constantly judging you. 5,000 steps, 8,000. Maybe you even hit that legendary 10,000. We're all kind of obsessed with counting our steps, right? It's become the universal language of trying to be a little healthier. But here's a thought that might just stop you in your tracks. Is a step you take sprinting to catch the bus the same as a step you take wandering to the kitchen? Is it really just about the final number on your screen at the end of the day? Well, as it turns out, there is way more to it. You see, a brand new study just came out in the Annals of Internal Medicine, and it dug into this exact question. The researchers wanted to know if the way we get our steps, the pattern, actually matters. And let me tell you, what they found could be a total game changer for how you think about your daily walk. So, how in the world did they figure this out? Well, they ran what I'm calling the Great Step Experiment. And this wasn't some tiny little survey. Nope. This was a massive, long-term investigation into the walking habits of thousands and thousands of real people. Now, what's really cool is who they decided to study. They didn't go for the super athletes or marathon runners. They focused on some optimally active adults, which, is a fancy scientific way of saying people who take fewer than 8,000 steps a day. So pretty much most of us, which makes these findings super relevant. And their method was seriously thorough. First, they got over 33,000 adults to wear these little accelerometers on their wrists for a full week, tracking every single movement. Then, they dug into the data, looking not just at how many steps people took, but how they took them. Were they in short little bursts or long, sustained walks? After that, they sorted everybody into groups based on their main walking style. And here's the kicker. They then followed all these people for almost 8 years to see what happened to their health over time. All right, so after all that time, all that data, what did they actually find? Well, this is where it gets really, really interesting. Essentially, it all boiled down to two different kinds of people. First, you've got the sporadic steppers. These are the folks whose steps mostly come from, say, walking from the car to the office or wandering around the house doing chores. Just little bits of movement, less than 5 minutes at a time. And then you have the purposeful walkers. These are the people who get their steps in dedicated walks, 10, 15 minutes or longer, all in one go. So what happened when they compared the health of these two groups over those 8 years? The most stunning, absolutely massive difference was in their risk of developing cardiovascular disease. Okay, let's put some numbers on this. For the sporadic steppers, the group getting their steps in those short little bursts, their projected risk of having a cardiovascular event over 9.5 years was just over 13%. Okay? 13%. Burn that number into your brain for a second. Now, what about the purposeful walkers, the ones taking longer, dedicated walks? Their risk absolutely plummeted to just 4.39%. I mean, that is a gigantic difference. And when you see it like this visually, it's just, wow. That gap is enormous. We're talking about a risk that's nearly 3 times lower, all based on the pattern of walking, not even necessarily the total step count. And it wasn't just about heart health. When the researchers looked at the risk of dying from any cause, the story was the same. The sporadic steppers had a risk of about 4.4%, but the purposeful walkers, it was less than 1%, a tiny 0.80%. The evidence is just undeniable. Longer sustained walks are linked to a longer, healthier life. Period. So the big question is, why? Why is one 15-minute walk so much more powerful than, say, 15 one-minute walks sprinkled throughout the day? What's the magic here? Well, the study's authors have a theory. They basically say that for your body's key protective systems to really wake up and get to work, they need a longer, uninterrupted warm-up. Think of it like trying to start an old car. You can't just flick the key for a split second. You've got to hold it for a bit to get the engine to really turn over and run smoothly. It seems our bodies are kind of the same way. And here is maybe the best part of the whole study. This trick worked best for the people who probably needed it the most. For folks who were really sedentary, we're talking less than 5,000 steps a day, switching to longer walks had a colossal impact. Their heart disease risk was literally cut in half, dropping from over 15% all the way down to under 7%. That proves this isn't about being an athlete. It's about making a small, smart change. Okay, so what does this all mean for you and that little tracker on your wrist?
Let's boil all this science down into a really simple new goal.
The big flashing lights takeaway here is not that you have to suddenly start walking for hours and hours every day. No, it's that you can get some incredible health benefits just by being a little smarter and more intentional with the steps you're already taking. So the science is pointing us in a new direction. Yeah, keep an eye on your total steps, sure, but try to bunch some of that movement together. Aim for at least one solid, purposeful walk of 10 to 15 minutes or more every single day. Maybe it's a brisk walk at lunch or taking the dog around the block an extra time. It's a tiny change that, as we've just seen, can make a huge difference for your health down the road.
Which kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Your fitness tracker, it celebrates every single step, right? Whether you're walking to the fridge or climbing a mountain, it counts them all the same. But after seeing this research, you really have to wonder, should it?